A very good evening. Was I late? Oh yes, a minute in the end. Not too bad at all. And welcome to the Katie's Arms live here on Insta. And it's very nice to see everybody here. And also, Katie's Arms became a kind of a rallying cry the other day at the Freedom Rally in London. So I just wanted to say cheers to everybody who came to the Freedom Rally in London, or indeed if you went to a Freedom Rally anywhere. In Dublin, our Irish friends were with us, I know, in Sydney, in Melbourne. I mean, it was just brilliant. All over the Tel Aviv, Victoria. It was just fantastic to know that on the 24th, so many of us were gathered together. And I can tell you, if you weren't there in Trafalgar Square, it was just lovely in the best possible way, because everybody was there just to try and feel a bit better about everything, really. It reminds me of every Trump rally I've been at. It's just like a festival of kind of people being nice to each other and smiling at each other and feeling nice about being amongst people who just want you to be all right. And if something was wrong, they'd help you. It was that kind of thing. That's what these freedom rallies are like. They're just like being surrounded by people who are real nice to you at a time when often your own family members aren't. I went to the Freedom Rally in Trafalgar Square and I was going just quietly. I go to a lot of these things, or go to a lot of places where I don't even show my face. I just am there to watch and to be able to write about it more faithfully. And so I was just in the background, I was in the periphery, just going around, and then occasionally people would recognise me, mostly from Katie's Arms, also from my earrings. My earrings have become an identifier, or from a necklace, which is strange. So my cherry earrings have become a way of me being noticed on the street. So I was walking around the widest part of Trafalgar Square just to watch the crowd, just to kind of urge them on. And then saying hello to the odd person who realised that I was there amongst them, being part of the audience. And that was just lovely. So thank you if you were one of those people I met. Thank you if you were one of those people who watches this or joins in with this. But mostly thank you for just being there that day. And to everybody who piled on to thank people for going because they couldn't. I think that's really nice as well. And I think the amazing thing about that is that people spend their money to like get a train ticket or like do the travel, and that's bloody expensive. Train tickets are horribly expensive. And then people who spend their time to do it. And for a moment when I was walking through the back streets of London and saw all these people in restaurants and sitting around rah rah rah, I was like, damn, these people, why don't they understand that they could just be in Trafalgar Square? But then I got there and I realised that I was wrong, because actually it didn't matter about the people rah, rah, rah in the restaurants. It only mattered about the people who were in the square, because there are people and they matter. And what was so brilliant about it was that everybody thought different things about lots of things. I'm sure loads of people there can't stand most of the things that I say, or the way I look, or anything about me, or my past, or whatever. I'm sure there's loads of people there who are far left and think, all the opposite things to me. People there of every religion, every colour, every whatever sexuality, every anything you want to be, you were there. But we all wanted the same thing, which is just for everyone to be okay. And that's why, that the media really went for it with one particular individual called Kate. They really went for her because they didn't really know what to do about the Freedom Rally. They didn't really know what to do. They wanted to say it was, oh look, it's these hard left weirdos like Piers Corbyn, and then I'm there, so they're like, shit, well, she's not hard left. Oh, it's these weirdos that are all anti-vax. Well, no, there's just people there that want to have the choice to not have it if they don't want it, but are very happy that someone else has it if they want it. So the media didn't know what to do, so they had to really make up something. And most of the stuff, I'm sure, all of it that's been said about lovely Kate, who was on stage as well, who said that in the past, doctors and nurses were called forward to be accountable for their actions. None of what the headline said, of course, was true. And that doesn't matter. I'm very much of the view that you just have to accept headlines will be written that aren't in any way part of the truth. It just becomes the accepted narrative of the thing. But what was great is that they didn't know what to do with all of you that were there, or all of you that would support the people that were there, or all of you that were in Dublin or wherever, because we were so different. You couldn't say, oh, they're anti-vaxxer far right, because Piers Corbyn was there and plenty of people who think the opposite to that. So super thanks to everybody who took the time and trouble. If I could thank everyone personally, I would. And I did a good job of thanking lots of people. I hope it's South African wine. Now, people that know that I drink barefoot because it's very cheap, like me. And when my husband is recommending wine to people, he's like, well, my wife drinks this. And then people have it and they really like it. But my husband's more of a wine snob than me. So this is cheap. I'm cheap. My husband has better taste than I do. So God only knows how we ended up together. I was there and the atmosphere was amazing. It was good to hear different opinions. Exactly. And that's the joy of the thing, right? We didn't have the same opinion on anything other than we hoped everyone would be all right. Love barefoot. Exactly. I think the number one seller on wines is actually, what's that Shiraz with the kangaroo? Dang, someone will help me on here. I went to the Freedom Rally. You see, this is the joy of the thing. It is just a positive thing. Even when the media are desperate and Twitter desperate to slag it off, they're struggling because it's a really positive thing. And I would say to anybody out there who the most safe and happiest I've felt in 24 months. Imagine that. Imagine building, places where you can feel safe and happy, as in fun safe, not safe as in mass pervert safe, but safe, fun safe. Imagine building places where we can all be and feel safe and happy without any of the government bullshit. I would never be one in the past when I was young at university to be like, right, that's it, we're all going on kibbutz. But now I'm all over it. I'm like, let's all go on new freedom kibbutz and let's all live together off-grid. Frig everything. No smart meters, no nothing. We had someone trying to fit a smart meter in our house the other day. No being told what to do, and everyone just kind of cracks on and does what they like, as naked as they please. Brilliant. So that's for the future. Anyway, it was the safest and happiest. I've recently read your book. Oh, it made me feel, do you know what? And I promise this is not about flogging the book because it sold out ages ago, even though Waterstones wouldn't stock it, the bastards. Nor would anyone else because they were frightened of the backlash. But I have it here. And I think there's been someone who got involved to try and get reprints made. But this is it. Oh my God, look at my picture there. I didn't probably know it at the time, but I was probably still quite poorly here, really. There's pictures of when I first started LBC radio, and I was really poorly. I looked like, what's that entertainer called? I looked terrible and I was very poorly indeed. And I remember trying to put on the headphones at LBC when I started. I came straight from the Royal Hospital of Neurology and I still had this massive scar here and the staples had only just come out and I had to put the headphones on. And I remember it really hurting because of the scar. But anyway, people reading this, mostly it's just all the things I ever did that were wrong. All of my cock-ups, all of them up to this point. Obviously, I've got many more chapters coming, and that next Rude is coming, Rude 2. In fact, it's going to be called Help, I think, because it's just basically a book of what I've messed up and how not to do that, and what, like, help, I'm getting divorced, help, I'm having a baby, help, I hate my mother, help, it's basically that book. It's basically the Katie's Arms, but in a book. And if this doesn't make you laugh out loud, this one, Help definitely will. It's also quite explicit, so if you're feeling vulnerable or need a safe space or don't like the word vagina, then this won't be for you either. But there is, if you're epileptic, this is the point that someone made. It starts off, I'm not a twat. Well, actually not a complete twat anyway. I clarify that. I am quite a twat. There is a chapter, if you are epileptic, chapter 4, Epilepsy and Me. I think it's helpful because it tells the whole truth of it for me, and it tells me about the time I didn't want to carry on anymore and I walked out of my house determined that I didn't want to live with epilepsy anymore. And it also teaches you or shares my learnings from epilepsy that I learnt, things like don't buy a top when you've just come off morphine, but more importantly, just because you had epilepsy or major surgery or something, you can't then become this sad old bastard that when someone tells you they're poorly, you don't go, oh, well, I had brain surgery, because I hate that. I'm not a big fan of people who like have had chemotherapy or had something dramatic and then someone else is poorly. You can't, there's no range. You should just be, supportive of them. Anyway, this wasn't about promoting a chuffing book. I just wanted to say thank you to someone for saying that. I wanted to say about climate change, and I wanted to speak to people specifically who are in the West Country trying to camp. I hope that you're here on the Katie's Arms. So if you are currently trying to camp in a tent with perhaps someone you're married to and maybe young children, and probably you hate them all now, you probably hate your wife or your husband, you probably hate the children that you gave birth to, and you probably wish your life would end soon because it's gale force here in the West Country. It's 80 miles an hour winds, and if you've ever tried to put a tent up in 80 mile an hour winds, not only that, but we've had 18 months of absolute shit pits in the UK. I mean, just utter twats in charge, locking us down, telling us to feel shit, trying to make you feel shit. And now you've gone for some measly buggering holiday. Nothing was left for you to be able to book. So you ended up in a pissing tent from chuffing mountain warehouse that you never wanted to buy, trying to erect that whilst not, I love that word, erect, a tent. I know, childish, 46, what can I say? I know, I'm not 82. Trying to erect it in a manly fashion whilst people look on disapprovingly, and 80 miles an hour wind, and your wife telling you that you should have booked the Premier Inn. I mean, I can suggest wine, 100%. I suggest just getting that tent, throwing it in the trash, going getting fish and chips and wine, or leaving whoever's pissing you off, just going off alone. Walk off alone towards the sea, clutching a bottle of whiskey in a dramatic fashion. Take all your clothes off and leave them on the beach, but then go to the pub. I don't know, but just don't let it get you down, because it's terrible, and I feel for you. And I did actually think today about getting in my car, driving to the campsite, just offering chocolates and wine, and I nearly did do that, but I was concerned that it might be Londoners and lefties, and really, fuck them. I hope you like the wind. Except they'll all have hired the posh houses, or they probably own the bloody posh houses, don't they, with their second frigging homes that they shouldn't own. Anyway, my point rather being that Greta can stick it up her arse, because the sooner we get climate change in the West Country, the better. Sky News today, bullshit news, was saying that soon the UK is going to be too hot to handle. It's going to be 40 degrees C whole year round. It's just going to be, scorchio. Brilliant. Bring it on. I want climate change. If you can set fire to something and release a bit of carbon. In fact, do that. If you're on a campsite, it's pissing down, it's blowing a hoolie, and your wife just told you, and you're getting divorced, why not burn some shit, give off some carbon dioxide, start making climate change happen? I mean, seriously, all of this is going to be too hot. It's never going to be too hot. I wasn't even hot the other day. It's never too hot for me. This weather's shit. Bring on climate change. And where are the people speaking positively about climate change? Okay, some shitty countries that are a bit shit might be underwater. Okay, fine. But a lot of those countries, that water is very warm, isn't it? It's like that light blue water. And like you can do, like, if I think about, I went backpacking around Indonesia during quite dangerous times. The water's warm, you can snorkel, there's really pretty fish. So climate change means Indonesia's underwater, easier to snorkel. Pretty fish close to the land. Even if you had like a 2-story building, you'd have like pretty fish just outside your window. I'm failing to see the bad side about climate change. I'm sorry. And really, when am I ever going to see a polar bear or give a shit? I don't. I don't like snow, I don't like ice. Everything melts, don't really give a shit. As long as I can get a tan that covers up my wrinkle lines that I got from getting tanned. Anyway, I'm sure other people, more people die of the cold than the heat. Brilliant. Well done, Rick. That is a good, informative point that you made here on the Katie's Arm. I think she's a bit tipsy. Listen, we get this every week. Every week people say I'm pissed, which would have to mean that I'm literally pissed every Friday. And I'm not. This is how I am in real... I've had this, and I went to the pub with my husband earlier and had a glass of wine. I'm not even... This is how I am in real life. This is my normal. Ask anybody at Asda or Sainsbury's or, well, anyone that knows me. Anyone that knows me in a normal shop knows this is how I am. This is what happens. This is who I am. It's not that I'm drunk. I'm just all right about life and I don't care what anyone thinks. I just want a nice garden. Oh, I see. Yes, well, I don't know how to fix that, but I want to. But not in a like weird gardener, let's go and transform the garden, because all those transforming garden programmes are shit. And if anyone ever went back 6 months later, you know, it looked like a bag of shit as well. Sandpits are always shit. They're just full of piss and dog wee in about 5 minutes. And you watch them put that shit in and think, that's not going to last the winter. I wanted to talk about Costa bloody coffee. Ooh, look, let me show you this. It's my National Rifle Association car sticker. I'm a member of the NRA, which is the Rifle Association in America, which is basically supportive of gun ownership. So I wear this. Well, I would. I put this in my car because other bloody mothers, you know, have shit bumper stickers, don't they, that say, baby on board. I hate those stickers. That's just like women want a bloody medal because they popped a baby out the vagina, didn't they? They basically, the baby on board is nothing to do with the baby. It's about the mother who wants to make a statement because she managed to have a baby. There are always those mothers that had the longest childbirth ever. Oh, I had contractions for 18 weeks. Oh my God. I had to have 85 stitches. Oh, yawny, yawny, yawn. They're the women that never really achieved anything in life, and so their most dramatic moment is going to be childbirth, and boy, oh boy, they're going to milk it for shit. Anyway, instead of, love this lady, exactly, tells it like it is, I know. So if you've got a baby on board sticker, if we can take it out of your car, it's pathetic. Do something good in your life and earn applause that way, or like me, mess up spectacularly but don't give a shit. Earn applause that way. Don't earn applause by just pushing out a baby out of your vagina. Monkeys do that. Camels do that. And no one has, they don't put a sticker on their arse when they're trotting through the desert. Anyway, I put this NRA sticker because I'm a massive fan of guns. I think everybody should own one. And the more this world turns bonkers, the more I believe that. And when we eventually set up our freedom kibbutz, it's going to be an armed, you know, we'll be able to defend ourselves manfully. Or at least I'll defend you all because I'm brilliant with an SA-80. And I'm quite handy with a Kalashnikov. Don't tell the Met Police. National Rifle. So I put this in my car sticker just to keep other mothers at bay. Or if you've got a sticker that says unicorns on board, any of that shit, just stay away from me. Right. Now, the thing I wanted to get to was this. This, I don't know if you've seen trending on that ridiculous little site full of insipid lefties that like to basket weave their own yoghurt, Twitter. Costa Coffee, boycott Costa Coffee is trending. And yes, there we are, carry on about Costa. Here we go, my darlings, you've read my bloody mind. So, it says, so boycott Costa is trending. It's not trending because their coffee's shit, which of course it is. It's not trending because fat women sit in there all day with 1 cup of coffee and 18 strollers and just talk about their breast milk, which is true also and a reason to boycott Costa. And because they appear to make their coffee out of, you know, ground up fox feces. It's not trending for that either. I mean, surprising. It's trending because they have this sign on their door. I believe it's actually in Ireland. Eat in requirements. And they've spelt requirements correctly. So kudos to that individual because I'm sure they use spell check. So if you're eat in, you have proof of immunity, which has to be a bloody vaccination passport, or proof you've recovered from COVID. How do you prove that? I can smell, I have a sense of smell. You have to have a photo ID, driver's license, passport, public service, your passport. Okay, next time you're like, oh, I'm gagging for a coffee. Oh, they've even got shit Costa. Oh, never mind. Oh, wait, did I bring my passport? Am I off to the airport next? Can I get You have to take your passport with you to get a coffee. You've got to present these documents in advance and please have them ready before you get to the counter because those BTEC people, but I love a BTEC, behind the counter want them ready so they're not inconvenienced by waiting for you to show the papers before you can have your shit coffee. Oh, get this. Every member of a group must provide separate documents. No mother covering for a child, no. Unvaccinated, the great unwashed, Moi, anybody on here who keeps saying, I'm sure Hopkins has had the vaccine, please piss off. She's travelled, therefore she's had the vaccine, dickheads. I'm not ever having the vaccine. I've travelled because I can circumnavigate freaking rules made up by absolute retards. People tell me off for saying retard on here. But actually, of course, if you're offended by what I say, it's actually you that needs to piss off, isn't it? Because I don't choose to offend, you choose to take offence. So you need to make better choices, and that would include not being here. I didn't invite you here, so best you just go off, maybe rub yourself up against the visor, you know, one of those big face visors, put it over your small testicles, see if they magnify. I don't know, just suggestions. Unvaccinated customers may sit outside and may use takeaway cups only. Can you imagine? Maybe you also have to wear a mask. Hold on, let me get one of my handy masks. Maybe you also have to have a mask. Okay, and then maybe you could like put the mask over your whole face, and then maybe you could like, maybe they could give you an unvaccinated straw as well, and you could sip it, you know. Or maybe they could give you a bell so you can rip. Unclean, but I've got my plastic cup so I don't infect anybody. Did you ever think you would live in a time when you would need to show a passport? Oh, I've lost a strap. A passport and prove your vaccination status in order to get a shit coffee from Costa. That's actually now. You're living through that time. And the only thing I feel like is two separate things. Number one, I love that we're living through this time because we're going to come out of it better and stronger. The ones of us who pull, like it's going to be like a sieve. It's like sieving out the arseholes, isn't it? And it's working right now. I had to go to Waitrose earlier. You would not believe how many people in Waitrose are still wearing a mask because it indicates how superior they are. And of course, Waitrose. And I feel like, yeah, great. It's sieving out the arseholes. And then eventually when I move to my kibbutz, cough. That's also a good thing to do in public, isn't it? Cough and like, I haven't got COVID, honest. Never apologise for yourselves, darling. Never apologise. Never explain. It only encourages the bastards. Anytime a politician does something naughty, I'm not talking about Matt Hancock pretending to get blowjobs in the office. I mean some transgression of a verbal nature. And they apologise. What's the point? The apology is never going to be enough. Never apologise. Anyway, that's Costa. I'm not sure about boycotting Costa. I think just taking the piss is a great idea. If you work there, please don't work there anymore. There's plenty of other jobs available. And if you're the person that wrote this sign, you absolute twat, thank you for your cooperation and apologises for any inconvenience caused. I'm thinking you mean apologies, and B, it's not an inconvenience, is it? It's apartheid. You're calling some people dirty. That's not, that's not inconvenience. That's actually discrimination on medical grounds, and actually religious discrimination as well if people choose not to have this thing because of their religious beliefs. So I think you're on dicey and a thin line. I hope very much that Costa go out of business and some delightful individual coffee shops triumph. If you're in the Plymouth area, please do support... Oh, I'm going to cough again. Hold on. So sorry. I apologise. Finla Coffee. Finla. I think I better have a glass of wine. Finla. I'll be doing more on Finla Coffee soon. I know it's a coffee shop that's been targeted for trying to keep their coffee shop open when people needed each other, and for trying to give people a space where they could sit down and have a coffee, and particularly for lonely elderly people to be able to sit and see people and feel a bit better. I know they've been targeted with fines. I meant to cover this before. I haven't had to do it yet. I haven't got to do it yet because the whole Australia thing happened. But Finla Coffee, or any independent coffee shop that's willing to take people without vaccines, support them. And that's what we're going to need to do, is distribute our cash to places that support freedom. And we need to support each other, and we need to rally together And we need to keep trying to help people that want to be on the side of freedom to keep going. It's going to be brilliant. I love it all. Now, what else did I want to mention very quickly? Oh, I guess the whole RNLI thing. What the problem with online and social media is that it only allows one opinion, right? Farage equals bad, slagging off the RNLI equals bad, RNLI equals brilliant, right? That's the only thing. It goes black and white. I've known this obviously for many, many years. There's only this or that. Those are the choices, right? But we know, because we're moderate and sensible people, although clearly I'm a racist, Nazi, Islamophobic, Ku Klux Klan member, whatever it was I'm supposed to be, there's actually a range of opinions, isn't there? And not all of them are wrong, not all of them are right, and they're just opinions, and anyone can have any of them. Do I think it's right that the RNLI do I think it's amazing that they have volunteers? Bloody brilliant. I love those lads. I also love their wellies. An RNLI volunteer in wellies, every time. Do I think it's amazing the work they do? Absolutely. Would I always support them? Do we go in there and do we put money in their little boat thing? And does my son love it? And does he own a couple of lifeboats, when he was little? Absolutely. Do I think the CEO should get £160,000 a year plus? It's more like 200k once you add in the perks. No. They talked about getting 3,000% uplift in donations. Most of it would only just about cover the CEO's salary. Do I think that's good? No. Do I think it's acceptable that the RNLI CEO left lifeguards out to dry when the COVID lockdown happened, wouldn't train lifeguards? Those lifeguards were on West Country beaches as volunteers because they knew the risk the public was under, and RNLI were not supporting them. Do I think that's okay? No. And do I want them to pick up migrants in the Channel? No, I don't. And do I actually give a shit that some of the accommodation offered to migrants is a bit substandard? No, I don't, because plenty of decent people are currently trying to be on holiday in a tent in the West Country, blown to smithereens. It's a bit shit in this country at the moment. What can I say? If you're a migrant here, welcome to the UK. It's a bit shit at the moment, but there's some great people out here who would happily help you. And I would help any of them, of course. So all I'm trying to say is there's a lot of different points of view, all of which may be right or wrong or eitherwise. But on social media and in the media, there can only be this or this. You have to hate this guy and like this person. It is noble to say, oh, I've just donated to the RNLI, marvellous. And it is wise to say Farage is a twat. None of those things actually have to be true. I can think the CEO's paid too much. I know some of the lifeguards who weren't looked after over the summer because of the decisions of the RNLI. And do I actually want more people in this country when we're not looking after our own? Frankly, no. Does that make me racist? No. Does it make me unreasonable? No. I just want to look after the people that haven't got what they need. That's all. Right, my darlings, look, it's 20... Where does the time go? I really don't know. Thank you. My niece has just wasted the last 10 days isolating with their hubby and 3 boys. Isn't that so funny? That some people that get told to isolate actually do it. I have a personal story that I'll relate it in a different way. Let's imagine I went to school to pick up a child that had been told to isolate. And let's imagine it definitely wasn't anything to do with me, but imagine there was a mother there who told me she was actually I could see she was excited that her child now was going to isolate and she was part of this. I could see her excited because she was now part of this and she was part of the face. She could put it on Facebook. My son's had to isolate. She was, let's imagine that happened somewhere. Let's imagine I was told I had to pick up a child of mine to isolate. Let's imagine that I asked the school, would it be possible that he could stay on a while and have school lunch and play in the fields because he really likes doing that. And then let's imagine I got told off by the school. If that happened, it happened. You're an idiot. I wonder about that sort of comment, because of course I'm the one doing this and you're the one watching. And you're the one who could be doing anything you wanted in the whole world. And yet you're here trying to call me an idiot to wind me up. Because I own you and I'm in your head. And after this is finished, you'll still tell your mates that you called me an idiot and I talked about it. And you'll still be talking about me with your mates then. And it won't make a jot of difference to me because I'll be right here next week doing the same thing. And you'll probably be joining again, wishing that your penis was in fact bigger and that you weren't so alone and eating a ready meal for one that you're going to ask your mum to microwave for you. Anyway, I love you all. Yeah, well, thank you, love you. From someone called, did I just see Toby Hopkins? Super. And I will see you all next week. And where will I be next week? I will still be in the UK, and but watch this space. I'm still not allowed to talk about Australia very much. But one day, of course, we will sit down and do the chit chat for that. Meanwhile, if I can help anybody, or if I'm useful, katie@katiehopkins.co.uk. If you're feeling lonely, just remember you're not. Please remember, if you imagine looking out over the crowd at Trafalgar Square and seeing 35,000 people, or any of the cities, they tried to make you feel like you're alone so you would comply. You know, this week you've seen, first up they went for footballers, then they went for regret. They used regret. I think I posted about that. Then today was pregnant mothers, wasn't it? They were going for pregnant women, and there was news items about how pregnant women might, you know, what was it they were saying? Go into labour early. I mean, what a load of shit. No one knows when you're going into labour. So they're targeting different segments now, and I can see it, you know, I can see the media strategy playing out. So don't feel like you're alone. Don't feel pushed to doing anything you don't want to do. Same advice I'd give my children, wouldn't it be? And just make your own decisions and really think about, you know, what is this decision I'm making, and am I making it for myself? And don't make it just because your family are kind of forcing you out or forcing you to do something, because no matter how else we come into this world on our own, and we go out of it on our own as well, and somewhere in the middle of all that you need to make some decisions on your own too. And if your family don't want you at theirs, there's a bigger crowd of us that want you at ours. And the Freedom Kibbutz will always welcome you with open arms when we build it. We will build it and they will come. Okay, thank you very much for joining. Thank you for being here at Katie's Arms. Do get your friends to come and join, or follow, or secretly follow, or stalk if you're scared, and to be caught anywhere near me. And I'll see you here, same time, same place next week, when I'll be, I don't know, look, trousers this week even. Not even my little Daisy Dukes. Okay, very good evening to everybody.